Hi there. I'm here to talk about the service appointment generator package and from an administrator's perspective. So when you install the packages, you're installing three packages. The first one is the data table. The other one is the Flow Screen Components base pack. And then the other one is the service appointment creator. So all of these, the data table and the flow screen components, those are prerequisites. And then the service appointment creator is the package that you would get. I will walk through the source site though first. For all the documentation is written in this quip for you. So you can please, if you need to, provide comments in this document if you have any questions, but everything that was created and added in the package, the components, should align exactly to this documentation. And then it includes the installation steps, optional configuration flows, and then there were additional related requirements. And so you can build this yourself to satisfy these features. And these are, I would call it our backlog, but these are all of the captured features that we were not able to get into the MVP. So you have an idea of where it falls, at least you know it's been asked for. So if you want to add more color, you can add a comment here to say that you'd love to see this feature. And then what we will do as a development team, we will provide our comments, we will prioritize it, we will tell you what the status is, whether or not it will be delivered, or something that you can do yourself as admins. I heard a great comment from our product lead. She said, a roadmap is meant to provide you capabilities. So if we can empower you to build some of these features yourself, I think that's the first thing we want to do, is give you the capability to design whatever you need. And I think that we have that with the service appointment generator tool. Okay, so let's review those capabilities. Now, all of these appointments have been created. These are all flows. So as part of the installation steps, when you're reviewing your Lightning app builder page for your work order, all you're really doing, and you can do this as a tab, you can make this the first tab that you see, but you're really just dragging and dropping the flow component into the canvas, and you can add a title if you want. Like I may not even want to add this, but you don't need this, but you can say the flow that you want, and it's the multi-resource assignment wizard flow, and you do want to pass in the record ID, and that's it. We just did the one column layout, but you can add whatever message you want here. You can provide instructions, what have you, to help guide the experience, the end user experience that you need for your orgs. Okay, so again, in the spirit of giving you capabilities to make your job easier, to fulfill requirements easier, faster. Okay, so once you have, so this is a decision-based workflow. If there are appointments already on the work order, it will show you a different screen. If there aren't, right, it'll show you a different screen. So let's step into some of the components, right? So okay, here's the main one. So the first thing that we're doing here, it's a screen flow. Do we have an ID? If we don't, you will be surfaced a screen to pass through a work order. Now, what I think might be cool is to convert this into a like a, you can call, like Visualforce can call this flow, might be cool to add to the dispatcher console. So if you did want to leverage this flow in the console, you might be able to, if you right click here, you can create a custom action that will pull up the component window. Just be mindful. The component window or the modal window that we have in the dispatcher console is of a fixed height. So there's a possibility you may need to scroll, which might not be a great dispatcher console experience. So just be mindful about that if you're thinking about expanding into the console. That was the reason why we didn't pursue it. But you know, it might be acceptable for some customers. Okay, so in the flow builder, we're getting the work order. We're checking if they've got any service appointments in progress. All of this, you can decide how you want to configure this, right? So you may want to include dispatched, you know, those kind of things. So choose what you want. You can check for any non-draft service appointments. So what does this mean? There are certain helper fields, and this creation status helper field will determine whether or not we should be deleting some of the draft service appointments that have been created. So if we have any draft service appointments, this will delete them. So if there are any existing service appointments found, great, yes. What do you want to do? Here's where it'll ask you, are you Are you going to edit, create, or delete the service appointments? Now, there's a lot of decision-based criteria here. So visibility criteria, I mean. So anything with this little I indicates that there's a component visibility filter here. Again, this can all be configured to your liking. Okay, you can change all this messaging if you'd like. Okay, all of this can be changed. Now, what we're doing here is leveraging subflows. So we're either going to jump into the create flow, the edit existing service appointments, or delete service appointments. This one is also a subflow for the service appointment deletion of drafts. So let's take a look at all the MRDT. So all the ones that are part of the package all start with MRDT. So this delete service appointments, this is the one that will delete the service appointments if you want to, right? So find all the existing active service appointments, delete them all, and then they're all off your screen. There's a separate delete for the drafts. So there's like a trigger, a record triggered flow that will find all the draft records and then delete them all if there are any found. So this gets triggered when when the flow launches. So I'll show you what I mean. It's the DT trigger delete. When am I triggering this? Let's just look at the details. So when a work order record is updated, we've got another helper field here to say trigger cleanup is true. So this will update. And if that field gets updated, the work order field, then this process fires and then deletes any drafts. And I think at the end of the service appointment creator field trigger, we're updating the work order for that. So selecting the work order, this is creating the appointments. At first, right? We're getting all of the service appointments in the territory. We're entering in the parameters screen. So this screen can be configured as well. So if you need to change, maybe you want to add another display text to this to talk about the time zone component, right? Maybe you want to insert that variable piece that says if you have a different time zone than the territory you're looking for, that could be something. The default choice is whatever you, I think it's whatever you have on the work order. But let me dive in to see what exactly this default value is. That might be set somewhere here in the resources. You can set the default value here, like maybe it's always evening. It's up to you. You can change it however you'd like. Maybe you want the default value to be 12. You can set it to be 12. Um, there's no decimal places here, so be mindful about that. You can change that too. You can also change the component visibility, and you can also remove this include Saturdays and include Sundays if you want. Okay. So all of this can be configured. You can leverage this, all this if you want. Modify this screen as you wish. Now, getting the filtered service territory members requires Apex to help with performance. So this will surface all of the service territory members for the territory that you selected. And then if they were found, then it will be surfaced in a data table. So here's where we first experience our data table. It is a custom component that you will see called data table. So you can just drag and drop this. The data table pack gives you some really great other features that you may want to consider leveraging, but here are the components for data table. I recommend that you go to Unofficial SF and take a look at how to use this data table configuration options. You do need to display a collection of records. So you'll have to do a get and get all records and create a record collection. And then you want to configure your columns. Right, so you can choose what columns you want to add. And then when you go to next, now you can choose what you want to do with this column. Do I want to allow to edit? Maybe I want to change the label. Do I want to do an icon, right? Do I want to allow to filter? Do I want to allow, I think I can automatically sort. But yeah, you can change the alignment. You can clip the text, wrap the text, all of these things, like maybe you want to wrap the text instead of clip it. So whatever you want, you can decide here. You can make all columns, you can edit attributes. So there's a lot of features that this data table will give you. So this is the first time you get to see the data table. And yeah, you can readjust, right? So you can change your screens and when you're showing and what you're showing. So it's up to you how you want the end user experience to be. And then, right, so we added a border. We didn't show row numbers, but we do in the service appointment one. Right, so you can take a look at all of these features and see what suits you. All right, so we are getting time zone info here again with Apex. So it will create it. It's going to get the time zone information for us and we'll review the service appointments. So this is where that Apex is just grabbing the information that can be presented here. So if you are in a different time zone than the service territories time zone, you will see the difference. So there is going to be a little bit of a brain power happening here when you are reviewing the data table. Remember, the data table is showing date time fields in the context of the logged on user's machine settings, not Salesforce settings. So be very, very mindful about all of that. So You may want to do this time zone difference, maybe include that Apex trigger earlier on in the service appointment creation screen. That might make things a little bit easier, but again, you have all the capabilities. You can replicate this, repurpose this at any other points within your flow, right? So now that you've got access to this Apex, right? So if I edit this element, that's this Apex. You can leverage this component or this action anytime you want in any other part of the flow, right? So maybe you want to, in this enter parameters, maybe you want to do the time zone here earlier on, right? That way you can surface those errors or that error, that, discrepancy or the math component piece, earlier on. Maybe it's below, however you want to, wherever you want to put it. But that might be an enhancement that you want to do. So again, giving you the capability to make these adjustments yourselves. It's all possible here. So you have all the tools that you need to be able to shift things around if you want to. Okay, we've been creating these errors messages for you. If there is a fault, right there, you will get a message that's relatively, I guess, useful is the word, right? So yeah, I don't know what else is pertinent here. Okay, here's the chance to delete all of the draft records. So the moment that we've confirmed all the records, the drafts are getting deleted at the same time, or like when all of the service appointments are being updated and the assigned resources are created. Actually, it looks like we're deleting the service appointments that that are marked as delete, not marked as delete, but are marked as draft, which equals for delete. And then we're then looping through that final set to create the assigned resource for each one. Interesting, very clever, actually. Right. Okay. Now for the edit, oh, sorry, update schedule to end. There is a scenario where we give the end users the ability to edit the existing service appointments. And if they want to just change the duration, like, we're not giving them the ability to change the scheduled end, but if they are changing the duration or they're changing the scheduled start, the scheduled end will change, right? So if they change this to start at maybe 10 o'clock and it's still 12 hours, then this will be 10 o'clock. If they change this to be 10 hours, but they're starting at 8, then this will end up being 6 o'clock. So this is something that has been created in this tool. This is not part of the product. So every time the service appointment is updated, and I guess it's, right. I don't know why we included draft, but at least it's confirmed. As long as these two have changed, 2 or 3, if either of these two have changed, it will update the record. So here's the new set time. So they're doing a formula field. So let's take a look at the formula field. It's this one. Okay. So again, here's a tool for you to leverage. Note that this will be something that you will have in your org. So if you have something like this already, either deactivate what you have or deactivate this one and then repurpose. I think I have, I think I have, I think I call that, no, this is just a record trigger, right? Yeah, this is just a record trigger. So you can either deactivate this one and leverage yours and just verify that your formula is similar to ours here. So this has been heavily tested. So this one's working quite well. So something to consider if you already have a feature like that built in your own org. What else is notable? Yeah, these are the two auto-launched flows. Creator. These are not going to be part of the package. It's just MRDT that are in the package. I think that's it. I think that's all that I think you need. This shift one, date shift, is also a trigger. I would, just again, know that we're just taking a set of appointments and adjusting the dates, right? So if it's like lifting them and shifting them. So there's a possibility that it might not respect the weekend properly. Depending on how the lift and shift falls in the week, right? So if you took a Monday to Friday set of appointments and you needed to move everything from Monday to Friday to be Wednesday to Friday and then Monday, Tuesday, we don't account for that. Let me show you what I'm talking about. So let's just say I want to do what I said here. I want to take this Monday to Saturday and lift and shift this to start on Wednesday, but I still want Sunday to be skipped. I don't believe that we're doing anything to accommodate for this. So I'll show you what the date shifter looks like. Let's shift dates to a new date. I want to shift February. Was it 14? Yeah, to 19. So February 14th. So that what helped me define that was this guy, this helper field. Or I can just, the beauty of having a console or even two monitors is that you can just easily flip. So yeah, I want the 14th to the 19th, and then I want to start on the 16th. I'm assuming I'm going to see Sunday. Yep, I do, right? So it literally is moving them across. So if you have to move Sunday to Monday, run it again. So if I edit, shift, so that's Sunday to Monday. And I want to start it on Feb 21. So let me just verify my dates. I want to move Feb 20 and 21 to start on 21. I will be honest with you, we could not figure out what the logic would be to say, if I want to include Saturdays and Sundays like I do with my initial create, how to incorporate those nuances into the code. So if you happen to know how to do that, that would be awesome. Let us know. But yeah, something to consider. What else can I say? Okay, so dispatch. In the training that I did for the end users, there isn't really a way to filter what we're seeing on the dispatcher console anywhere, right, to be for that particular project. There's also no way for me to say, dispatch only the service appointments for this this job. Now, could you build something that would do that? Oh yeah, right? So you could build some sort of component that would, when you're doing edit, you could say, maybe create an option to dispatch them all. The challenge that I have is when I'm in this edit view, I can change them all here, but I don't have the ability to multi-select. Now, let's just do a double check. Is this, so I'm in the edit. Maybe I just, something that I have to, okay, so this is the update SA or take other data table component. Here's my data table. So if this is for update, let's configure the columns and see if I have, oh, hello. Where's so status? Let me see. So I allow edit. So I'm just not sure why I can't do bulk edit for this one, right? And it's interesting because I can bulk edit this one, but I can't seem to bulk edit this one, any pick list values. So that could be a limitation of the data. Um, hmm, the data table, it might be. All right, so what's interesting is I would want to remove that feature for the date time, because note that if you do a multi-select for this one, and let's just say, you think that you're updating everything to change for, what did I do? Hold on. Let's just say I think that I'm changing everything to be 9 o'clock, and I'm saying update 38 items. What will end up happening is all 31 items will have January 31st at 9 a.m. Eastern for every single one of these, which is not what we want. So what I would love is the ability to remove the ability to do an update on in mass for all 38 items for my scheduled start. So it's interesting. So I mean, it's great for this one. Let's just say they all need to be updated to be 8. That makes perfect sense that I can update all of these, but got to be mindful about this date time one. So something to keep an eye on. I would follow that post in unofficial SF and see what we can possibly do in that screen component, because it does look like, even though I have this, I don't have the ability to say, to control the ability to do a mass action. So I think that's all. Let's just cancel out of here. I don't have CGC. There's nothing that I can do to set. So yeah, something to consider for sure is that mass edit function. So a bulk dispatch might be interesting to have here. So yeah, you could have something here that would just loop through and update the status for all of the appointments to be dispatched. But I think it would be nicer to do it in here, because then you can control which service appointments you want to change the status to, because maybe you don't want to dispatch all of them. Maybe you only want to dispatch the first week, and then the second week you don't want to. So I would consider looking at your edit, your service appointment review, and maybe consider adding another action here, update service appointment or take other action. Maybe you want to add another action here and say, um, update status or dispatch service appointments, something like that. Okay. Okay, yeah, I don't think anything notable. There is a feedback form here. Please, your feedback is really important to us. We want to know how you're feeling, how capable you feel with the tools that have been provided to you. Um, yeah, let us know. Oh, sorry, I guess I might as well show you all of the triggers. It's not triggers, it's classes. They all start with MRDT. So as you can see, we do have quite a number of Apex classes. They all have test classes. We're pushing to make those test classes code coverage to be in the mid to high 90s. So that's still in progress. But be mindful that if you do make any changes here, also take a look at your test classes. A lot of it needs some assertions and record creations and things like that. So just be mindful about that. Okay. So anything with MRDT will be part of the package. And then these are all available to you to modify and edit, right? And then it's even telling you the reference. So, you know, Christopher Albanese, the author, and has done a great job of documenting how this is used and things like that. All right, well, thank you again. Please provide your feedback here. The link is in the documentation at the top. I will be linking in the videos in this documentation document as well. I appreciate you. Look forward to hearing your feedback, and we'll be in touch.